There's this intense hatred, especially on the internet, specifically for English teachers, specifically with this cross-continental, cross-cultural divide. You shouldn't really disrespect someone for doing the job because they're paid a lot, and you shouldn't disrespect them if they're paid a little. But I think English teachers are in a double bind exactly that way. They're despised as if they make a lot of money, but then they're also despised because they are seen as being like babysitters or au pairs, or being equivalent to a kind of Filipino nanny, someone employed in this capacity. They're treated as the lowest level of low-paid, disposable, hired help. So that's one aspect. And the only other aspect I want to deal with here is cultural imperialism. There's this underlying resentment of the cultural imperialism that uniquely separates and yet tethers together white Western civilization with Asian civilization. There's this feeling of resentment that white Western culture, white Western imperialism, creates the standards not just for beauty, but for everything, for all things, from the utensils they eat with to the inch, the hour, the days on the calendar. All the standards and practices that define modernity and society. The watt. Light bulbs are in watts. Who was Mr. Watt? Where there's this resentment of the authority that's uniquely tied to the role of the English teacher. And there's this irreconcilable political struggle of East versus West. And of course, the irony is that's the main thing motivating people to learn English. But tied to that motivation, there's this resentment that's not always conscious, they're not always aware of. There's this resentment that when I go to the gym, it's a white man on the wall as the symbol of male virility, and it's white women as the symbol of beauty. And everything about the gym, sorry, if you just stop and think about it, even if you just think about the equipment, every piece of equipment has a white Western name. Like the names of the machines, the names of the exercises. We just think about it. The English language and the cultural imperialism, it's built into the whole gym surrounding. Everything with an Asian name is regarded as cheap and local, and things with an Italian name or a French name or an English brand name. There is this, and again, most people, most of the time, don't consciously resent this and don't consciously rebel against it. But I think in many ways that is a kind of undertow or undercurrent that's poisoning and vitiating the discourse about English teachers, about the teaching of English, about why people choose to study it, and why people are in effect forced to study it when they don't want to. There aren't two different possible futures branching off from the present right now. There's only one way this can go. The one way this can go is, inevitably, the whole world needs to mature, needs to grow up and recognize the really fundamental role played in people's lives by language teachers. You can't really have a society in the 21st century that lacks the facility of face-to-face language instruction. And not just for English, German, Chinese. It really is an acute social need, and it's a need for education that isn't well provided by prison-style schools, by hospital-style bureaucracies. And at this time, nobody really has the answer yet. Neither in terms of economic organization, business organization, purely free market for-profit organization. And we also don't have the answer in terms of cultural attitudes and expectations for how language teachers are going to exist within a society.